Okay. Where is it? Okay. So, welcome to week what? Which week are we in now?
Three.
Okay. Welcome to week 3. Um, at the end of this week, I think from next week is going to get more hands-on. So, if you have not set up gotten your devices, whatever you need, like your laptop, from this week you get instructions on how to set up your home lab ahead of the classes to come. So we'll get more physical from here. I know most times when the senior guys are discussing some stuff, you guys that are coming new, you be like, what are these guys talking about? I can't wait to get to that stage, Joe, so that I'll know what is happening. True of us.
Very true.
Yeah, you will soon get there and you understand how fun and at the same time frustrating most times. We had a student or a learner who he said he felt like he was having a spiritual attack on his system. That why is this his system is not working? That every when he wants to download what others are downloading, it's not going to work in his system. So I told him, "Are you sure it's spiritual attack? Have you checked it?" He said, "Sir, I've checked everything. It's a spiritual attack. Maybe people from my village." I said, "Calm down. Do you know what? Oh yeah, let's look at this thing together." And funny enough, when we analyze it, we find out that his system wasn't capable of doing some of those things he wanted to do. So he now have to go and change the system. Guess what? He still changed it and got another system that can't work more than 3 times. I tell you, see, it's not village people that is working. It's just misunderstanding between you and your tools. But when you get to the point where you think village people is worrying you, relax. Not village people. Chat GPT might be somewhere around to help you out. Okay, so you will not be disturbing village people. All right. So let's kick off. So this week is for ISC2 and ISC2 ISC actually stands for Information System Certification Consortium. I've not seen any exam where they add this anyway, but just for your knowing. Okay. And when you follow the registration process and go through it, you will come to a page, something that looks like this. I don't know whether they've updated it again this year. And you always have to choose the official ISC to CC online self-paced training. When you register for it, you'll get to the course objectives where they will list out all the domains. Okay, domain 1, domain 2, domain 3, domain 4, and domain 5. At the end, they will rate your understanding and also before you move forward to the next domain. Another important part of the ISC2 is the codes of ethics. Okay, if you're going to be writing that exam, it's good to know the code of ethics. Here we have all information security professionals who are certified by ISC2 recognize that such certification is a privilege that must be both earned and maintained. Okay? It is currently that I start understanding the meaning of this paragraph. And very soon, when most of you get to this point too, you understand the meaning. See, there are some English you see in a contract. You would think it's just English. My dear, it's not English. Terms and conditions. So he said, it must be both earned and maintained. Getting the certificate is the process of earning it. You go through that hurdle, that stress to earn it. Then maintaining it, there's still some educational credibility attached to it, not just educational credibility, your usefulness or your being able to participate in the society, not just the society of ISC2, but your general society. You see, all they're trying to do is ensure that the knowledge you get as a security professional, you don't just get it and keep it in your, what's it called, your storehouse. Okay, they ensure that when you get it, you make good use of it. Okay, they say ISC2 members who intentionally or knowingly violate any provision of the code will be subject to action by a peer review panel, which may result in the revocation of certification. ISC2 members are obligated to follow the ethics, compliance procedures upon observing any action by any member that breaches the code. Failure to do so may be considered a breach of the code pursuant to Canon 4. There are only four mandatory canons in the code. There are four canons in the code. By necessity, such high-level guidance is not intended to be a substitute for the ethical judgment of the professional. Your ethical judgment, your judgment as a human being. Okay? These four canons will not always, or is not intended to be a substitute, because there is a point where you have to take a decision as a human being. True of us.
True.
Yeah, not just as a machine or anything. You take a decision. For example, if what's it called? You are mandated to secure digital assets. Okay, when there is fire, uh, the best and first thing you should do is, after trying to put it out, is to save life first. You have to save your life first before thinking about saving property, all those stuff. So such high level guidance in this code, in these four canons, is not intended to be a substitute for ethical judgment of the professional. Just bear that in mind. Okay, so we'll first look at the code of ethics, then we'll look at the look at the canons, the four canons. The code of ethics, I think there are just two, which says the safety and well-being, safety and welfare of the society and the common good, duty to our principals and to each other, requires that we adhere and be seen to adhere to the highest ethical standards of behavior. You're going to say this in an exam. Say the safety and welfare of the society and the common good, duty to our principals, those that employ you, where you work, and to each other, requires that we adhere and be seen to adhere to the highest ethical standards of behavior. Then the second code of ethics is strict adherence to this code is a condition of the certification. Okay. Then the four canons. The first one says protects society, the common good, necessary public trust and confidence, then infrastructure. It said protect the society, the common good, necessary public trust, confidence and infrastructure. The second one is act honorably, honestly, justly, responsibly and legally. You have to provide diligent and competent service to your principals. Advance and protect the profession. Okay. In the exam, they might put all this 1, 2, 3, 4, then add one wrong one. Probably add one from the code of ethics. They'll just pick one from the code of ethics and add it and ask you to pick the wrong one out. So you have to memorize them, and not just memorize them. Let it be like a second guessing for you. Maybe by the time you do what's it called, the you start getting ready for the exam with the resources that we have, you will be able to, when you see it, you know the one that is not supposed to be where it is. Okay, so once you through with the ISC2 training, you can proceed to schedule for your exam, and I wish you guys success in that exam. Trust me, uh, it is something that if you are entirely prepared for, you will scale through it. So don't just take it as any exams you could just enter and come out from. Okay. Then more or less, more than the exam, the learning process, whatever it is, you're going to be learning from those sections is very important. And that is why we want to, the next stage now, we're going to be looking at some of those domains, okay, and their use case or use cases, as the case may be. The ISA2 has 5 domains. I think we have here up to 6, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 7 domains. We have to spread it into 7 so that we can touch each part of it, um, touch it in full. So we have Sam, Henry, Nello, and Rob here. So all of Henry, you have a question, please go ahead. I didn't even see your hand. Henry,
Okay,
Henry,
can you hear me, sir? Can you hear me, sir?
I can hear you
So I
now.
was speaking, I was speaking on mute, sorry. I
Okay.
said,
Yes.
the IPC, this two certification,
Yeah.
everything that we're going to see in that exam is going to be a second one we will learn here, one we are teaching us there, or should we read beyond that?
That is
What's the
why that is why we have the extra resources. There are resources we are going to be sharing with you guys when you're ready for the when you are done with them. Probably you've scheduled the exam to take the exam for maybe, let's say, 2 months or 3 months, or let's say 2 months ahead. So within that extra 2 months, so we have some resources we are going to be giving to you to use for those training, because the ISC2 portal on its own is not enough to pass the exam. That's just the truth. Okay. That is why we made available some of the resources that I was telling you about. So when you're ready, when you schedule for the exam, those resources will now be a kind of what's it called, rehearsals and practice for you to get accustomed with the kind of questions that you meet in the exam. And you'll be shocked that like maybe 40 to 60% of them, you might not have seen them in the ISC2 portal. Not just seeing them, you might not have related with them, connected with them with the way it should be. So that's why we have um, the extra resources we're going to share with you guys, and is free for everybody in the platform and everybody in the program. So it's not something that you should start thinking hard about. Okay. Any
all
other
right, sir?
question?
No, for now.
Oh, okay. So let's move on. The first domain is security, risk, and management. So let's have okay, Henry, you are the one below me. So read the first page, starting from you read the title of the domain, then you read it down.
All right,
Yeah.
all right. With security and its management definition, this domain covers the foundational concept of cybersecurity, including risk management, governance, laws, and ethics. It focuses on maintaining security policies, business continuity, and ensuring compliance with legal regulations.
Exactly. So this particular domain, when you are looking at it in the ISC2 portal, you should know that it focuses on maintaining security policies. Okay, covering the foundational concepts of cybersecurity, then also the risk, governance, and laws and ethics part of it. Okay. Now, under the use case, we said that for risk assessment, a company evaluates potential risk before launching new software. Now, identifying threats like malware, or data breaches and creating a plan to mitigate this risk. Under the compliance management use case, we said a healthcare company ensures compliance with the HIPAA to protect patients' record. Okay. And security policies use case. Organizations enforce password policies that require users to change passwords regularly to minimize unauthorized access. Now, below it also, there are little practicals to do for the more inquisitive types. Imagine you are securing a home Wi-Fi network. You set a strong password, enable encryption, and restrict access to only trusted devices, which mitigates the risk of unauthorized access. Okay, that is that on risk, security, and risk management. When you look at the use case, you know you have a big bad picture of what this domain talks about. Now, the second domain is asset security, and we have Sammy. Could you read the second one? That's if you're available. If you're not, Nelo, please kindly help us.
Okay. Asset security definition. This domain involves the protection of information and assets through proper classification and handling. It includes secure storage, encryption, and proper data destruction when necessary.
Yes, thank you very much. So, see, this particular aspect, when you're going through the external resource training, preparing for the exam on this particular domain, that's when you see that ah, enough is not just enough. You find out types of storage, encryption.
You have seen me before.
You said,
Should I show you a picture?
who is showing us picture? Don't show us any picture, please.
Phone is having issues. That's why.
Okay,
I
please.
just I just have to like reboot it now.
Okay, just mute, okay, and follow us through. Thank you. So, like I was saying, you will find out the types of encryption, the proper data destruction types, etc. So, questions, a lot of questions you're going to get from this angle in that resource will help you get, a more sound understanding about the domain asset security. And under the use case, we'll see data classification. A company categorizes data as confidential or public to determine the appropriate level of protection. In fact, on this part, I think there are like 3 or 4 types of data classification. Can I remember them again? When I was preparing for the exam, I did them. So we have classified is one of them. Then we have um, there are four. When you're preparing for the exam, you're going to see I can't remember them. So you see that data classification has almost like 4 types, but in the ISC2 program, what's it called, portal, I don't think they explained it deep into that much. So before you write the exam, before you sit for the exam, ensure you get resources from us that will help you sit for that exam once and pass it. Then also secure disposal. An organization securely disposes of obsolete hard drives using shredding techniques to ensure data cannot be recovered. Okay. And you also find out types of shredding
Hello.
techniques. Yes?
Sorry, I have something to say.
Okay. Okay, Rob.
Okay, regarding the preparation for this IS
Yes.
IS2 series. So,
ISC2. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah. Can't you share the uh, the other
Materials.
material? Yeah. So we can be, reading books
hear that because from what I have seen from that portal, it's too bogus. As in,
It's yeah, it's too
most of
light.
it,
It's too light, right?
bogus. As in, it's not that comprehensive at all.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
understand?
Yes.
Especially for beginners like
Yes.
us that doesn't familiar with some of the words and all that. So they didn't explain it in detail.
Hmm.
So it's just like a shallow explanation or shallow
Yes.
stuff that they put inside.
You see, when um, when you have dedicated resources to train over 1 million people and you're doing it free, what do you expect? Yeah. So you also think of
That
it
is
that
what
way.
I'll get tired.
So you so just the what I need you guys to do is persevere, finish it through. Once you're done with it, I think what I'm going to do is uh, I'll compile the resources so that you guys can now be matching it on bone to bone while you're studying for it. But it would be advisable that you finish with the IC2, finish with it, so that you know that there's nothing that will take you back there. Because when you start this one, you will find out that the IC2 will be so boring for you that you wouldn't want to go back and finish it. That is why I want to insist that just finish it. Finish it. Now, when you now start with the materials, it will now be like, okay, I think I heard something small like that before. But you will now appreciate the fact of the new resources. So just to fulfill all righteousness, finish it and ensure you pass their final exam. So don't just water it down like that. Finish it and get their certification of completion. Finish it.
Okay.
You
I
see?
still on the med two seven.
You see,
I still on the
yeah, the material is I think it's 5 domains, so it's not much. 3 more domains for you to go. So Henry, go ahead. Yeah.
So they have certificate of completion, and
Yes.
they also have their own certification.
Yes, they have certificate of completion. That one is the one you could write in your house. You write it when you're done. So then the licensed one, which is the certified in cybersecurity, is the one that we are all preparing for like this, and it's an external exam. You go write it. Okay, so that's how it is. That's why I told you guys when you're coming in, there are 3 possible certifications you get. 2 are certification of completion, which is one from IC2, one from us. Then the third one, which is the licensed one, uh, when you sit for it and pass it. Okay. So can we go ahead? Robs, I think we can't hear you if you're trying to say something.
Huh?
Are you trying to talk because we can't hear you?
No. I'm good. I'm good.
Okay. So we are in asset security, and we say that this domain involves the protection of information and assets through proper classification and handling, just like Nelo read to us. Under the use cases, we've seen data classification. We said that the company categorizes data as either confidential or public to determine the appropriate level of protection. Then also secure disposal. An organization securely disposes of obsolete hard drives using shredding techniques to ensure data cannot be recovered. What other shredding techniques do you think can be used to destroy data? Does anyone have any idea?
Bug bounty.
But what?
Bug bounty.
Ah, my brother. Waiting concern bug bounty inside destruction of data.
Encryption.
We're talking of destroying. You know, look at where this comes from. Let's assume that there's a hard drive that the company wants to sell off. So they will have to ensure that that drive is entirely empty before disposing it. And of course, with the technology now, even when you delete something from your hard drive, there are technologies that can be used to retrieve it back currently. So there
Okay,
are
recycle bin.
no, even if when you put it in a recycle bin and delete it from your I mean deleting something from your hard drive, pata pata, there are
Okay, okay.
technologies currently can be used to with bring back everything you've deleted, and from it get important information. When the people that are in the forensic department, there are tools specifically meant for retrieval of data. So how to securely dispose data is what is on this particular asset security domain. And you find out that an organization securely disposes of data by shredding technique. Like, when you know, like SIM card. When you throw away SIM card into the dustbin, have you spoiled the SIM card? The SIM card is still active.
Somebody can pick it. Somebody can pick it.
Yes. Even if most times when people break it into two, there are some technologies too that can help people to join the two of them together. But when you shred it, shredding means tear it into,
Shredding those things.
yes, shred it pata pata. So it's one of the techniques that can be used to destroy data. That's for you to know the extent how people go to um, retrieve data and also to destroy it. And companies have what's it called, policies on how to do these things. How to do these things. So on a practical use case, we say a small business needs to classify financial records as confidential and use encryption to protect them, ensuring only authorized personnel can access them. Okay, so you just bear that in mind. The third domain is on security architecture and engineering. And Sam, if you can speak now, you could go ahead and read it for us.
Okay. I can't see the screen. I'm seeing only security, like architecture and engineering.
Yeah,
Can you carry your
just read
bring your poster down?
just read the security architecture and engineering. That's your this slide.
Secu- Security architecture and engineering.
Yeah.
Okay, security architecture and engineering. Maybe using. That's what I can see, sir.
Are you using phone?
I'm using my phone. Yes,
Oh,
sir.
okay.
Okay, I can see now.
Okay.
Definition. This domain focuses on designing and building secure systems and networks. It involves applying security models, ensuring encryption, and managing security measures to protect infrastructure from threats.
Yes, thank you. You see, this part focuses on first designing and building secure systems and networks. I always maintain that if you design wrong, whatever you're building will be wrong. Okay, those into the building industry will always concur to that. It involves applying security models and ensuring encryption that manages security measures. Also, all these things towards to protect infrastructure from threats. Then, under the use case, secure network design. When designing a company's internal network, engineers use firewalls and intrusion detection systems to block malicious traffic. Okay. Under the use case of IoT security, a smart home setup is protected by applying encryption to communication between IoT devices and ensuring they cannot be accessed remotely. Remember, I told you guys that there was a case of a company that was hacked with their AC. Okay. The more we have all these smart devices, the more secured or security conscious we should be. Now, as a learner, someone who is in the program, practically, you could learn about cybersecurity, and you might decide to design a mock-up secure email system, take it as your own personal project, incorporating encryption to protect messages from interception. Okay, and when you use antivirus on your systems or specific ways, when you even download
I can open
antivirus,
up that space now.
You said?
This on my guy's side.
Who is that?
Not you, sir.
Please mute. Thank
Oh,
you. Please ensure you see this 1 hour plus or 2 hours. Kindly keep it secure. How do I say it? Maintain it well so that you wouldn't waste your time. So um, I've lost my thoughts. You could,
This IoT, what does it stand for?
yes, with your stuffs that are already connected. Is anybody raising hand? No. You can actually decide when you download antivirus, even without using the big antivirus. Is like, for example, if you are using Windows Defender, when you go through it very well, you will see some settings. You will see some wonderful, wonderful settings that you can tamper with. With all those settings, you can decide or know how to keep your systems secure from alerts. And also remember how this, I told you guys how the same works. The same pulls logs from devices like this. So a student learning about cybersecurity might design a mock secure email system incorporating encryption to protect messages from interception. So as you're going ahead and going through the theoretical part of your training and entering the practical side, there are some other projects that you can even on your own personally decide to embark on or do. But the more interesting part of the program is once you graduated, engulf yourself into those platforms, the what's it called, hands-on platforms, because the knowledge you're going to be getting from there, 90% of them, or let me say 80% of them, are on the job training, meaning you will get to use them when you actually get employed. You will get to use them. So the fourth domain is communication and network security. Who hasn't read for us? Henry? You've not read? Okay, Henry, go ahead then.
Please, just a quick one. I'm making a jot. I got a call when you were talking about the number three. Well, let me just see the subject and then number three. Number three, they are the subjects.
Security architecture and
Security,
engineering.
all right. Then what's the problem of that ICT2? I said, the information says certification. ICT. What is the problem with that? Information systems and
Consortium, yeah. Yeah, like I said, I've not seen any exam where they ask the full meaning of IC2 anyway. So now we are going into domain 4. I was asking who hasn't read for us to read. What I think we'll go ahead. Communication and who?
Let me read.
Okay, please go ahead. Thank you.
Communication and network security definition. This domain emphasizes securing networks and data communication channels. It addresses how information is transmitted across networks and how to protect it from threats like
Eavesdropping, eavesdropping. Yeah,
encryption.
yeah. It's called eavesdropping, like listening or tapping into someone's network to listen to what they are doing without the person knowing. Eavesdropping, yeah, and data interceptions. Thank you very much, Rob. So this domain emphasizes on securing networks and data communication channels, while it addresses how information is transmitted across networks and how to protect it from threats like eavesdropping and data interception. That reminds me, ensure that you, what's it called? The OSI model. Ensure that you get it in your memory, OSI model, while you're preparing for the exam. Even the materials that we're going to give you extra will also have questions on these, where we have acronym of please do not throw sausage pizza away. Layer is P, which is physical. Please do not throw sausage pizza away. And first one is what? Physical. Second one is data link. The N stands for network. The T stands for transport. Then the S stands for session. And the P stands for presentation. Then application. So sorry, application is where you get the what's it called? The pictures and the image is on the application level. Then presentation level also helps. So when you look at the diagram or the full, let's pick up one of the diagram and blow it up. When you go to Google to read up about this OSI model, please do not just read it as though you're trying to do Mr. Brian a good. Read it be very intentional when reading it, because it forms like 30% of the exam. Not 30% as per all the whole questions are going to be there, but the knowledge you're going to get from it will be very, very crucial. So let us just do a little summary of it. On the physical layer, you see how it goes: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the physical, the data link, the network, the transport. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So the physical, data link, network, transport, session, presentation, data, application. These are the 7 way the path through which information or data passes through before it goes out to the digital world. On the physical layer, we say that on this layer, it converts data into bits to carry it across the physical network equipment. And I would have loved this image to have another diagram which will show example of what is in physical layer. So what should be here is the bits and the equipment that it passes through. When you are studying OSI model, ensure you memorize. Number 1, you memorize all the names, just like the way I did it up. Please do not throw sausage pizza away. Upwards. So physical always is number 1. Then the last one is application. Then the second place to memorize is what they do inside them. Then the third is examples of things that are being done inside them. Once you have the 3 sections in your memory and understand it, then you're good to go with anything concerning OSI model. And these things I'm telling you about, they are readily available on Google. In fact, if you employ what's it called, ChatGPT, it will give you more than enough. So the physical layer converts data into bits to carry it across physical network, while the data link handles node-to-node data transfer between devices on the same network. It doesn't go outside its network. On the network layer, it conducts routing between different networks, determining the most efficient path. Which path is it going to follow? Which path is it going to follow? Sometimes questions will come out: which of the layer of the OSI model handles the route or the road a data goes through. So network conducts routing between different networks to determine the most efficient path where it has to go through. So we have the transport. This transport layer handles data transmission between devices using either UDP, user datagram protocol, or TCP protocols. Session manages connections and the opening and closing of session between devices. when your device is connecting with another device, this particular layer is what is holding that internet connection so that it wouldn't go off. Then presentation configures data into acceptable format. This is where if you are sending an image, the image will be formatted here to ensure that it comes out as an image. If it is a document, it ensures it comes out here. So this presentation layer takes care of the presentation of the data that you are trying to transmit, while the application layer handles the applications that communicate data to end users. So like I said, this is a summary of OSI model. Now you even ask, what is it? What is OSI model? From the Google, what's it called? We said the OSI model describes 7 layers that computer system uses to communicate over a network. Nello, you can see it, right?
Yes, I can.
Please everybody ensure you take 30 minutes or 20 minutes when your class is done, maybe before the next class, read it, okay? Because pieces of it is still going to be coming out in our practicals, okay? The OSI model describes 7 layers that computer systems use to communicate over a network. So that is what we just described now. And why did we even get here? How did we get here? We talked about network segmentation under communication and network security, which is emphasizing on securing network. You know how, now you know why and how we jumped into the network layers. This domain emphasizes on securing networks and data communication channels. It addresses how information is transmitted across networks and how to protect it from threats like eavesdropping and data interception. Then under use case, we say network segmentation. In a corporate environment, separating the network into segments ensures that if one segment is compromised, the others remain secure. Then also second use case under this domain, we have VPN implementation. Employees working remotely uses virtual private network, which is VPN. They're going to ask these two in the exam. What is VPN? They'll tell you virtual private something, virtual this, that. But of course, this is the answer. Virtual private network. That's the meaning of VPN. To securely access company resources, preventing man-in-the-middle attacks. This man-in-the-middle attack is here. Rob, are you there? Robinson,
Yeah,
you were not
I'm
there.
with you.
No, you were not with
I'm with
me.
you. No, I'm with you, sir. I'm trying to. I muted myself.
Okay, it's all right. So this eavesdropping that I told you that happens when someone is sniffing to listen to communications unauthorized. So the companies, once they are applying the communication and network security domain, we are trying to prevent man-in-the-middle attack. That's what he does. He eavesdrops into information or communication that is not his business to have. So under the practical to do, when connecting to public Wi-Fi, users should enable a VPN. Just go to Play Store, download a good VPN, and you use it. If you can remember the time when I think Nigeria was banned from accessing Twitter, everyone has to go download VPN. I don't know. How many years was that ago? It should be 1 or 2 years. I think 2 years ago.
I'm work of government now. I think what I'm
Our wonderful government. They are trying to protect. See, when you see governments do some things, and
cyberbullying.
yes, they are trying to either protect something or something. Even if it is for their personal gain or the gain of the entire nation, whatever it is. So when connecting to public Wi-Fi, users should enable a VPN to secure their communication and protect sensitive information from being intercepted. During those times, you see somebody's location will be showing China. Meanwhile, the person is in Agege, and that person's location will be showing Tanzania or Canada. Meanwhile, the person is under a Jab bridge. So with VPN, you could use VPN to, access networks remotely and securely also. So the fifth domain here is identity and access management. And we said that this domain involves managing user identities and controlling access to resources. Okay. It ensures that users are properly authenticated and authorized to access systems based on their role and privileges. Just like we said in week one, when we are doing the use case of confidentiality. What's the CIA trade again?
Confidentiality, integrity, availability.
Exactly. So uh, this domain plays a crucial role in that concept. So it ensures that users are properly authenticated and authorized to access systems based on their role and privileges. Under the use case, we'll have multi-factor authentication, access control policies. Under multi-factor authentications, MFA, we see that employees use both a password and a fingerprint to access sensitive information, financial information. In fact, while you're studying for this particular domain for the exam with the new materials, you will find out that authentication we have like I think there are three types of authentication. We have what did they call it again? Type 1. We have type 1, type 2, and type 3, I think. So a lot of questions will come in from this particular section I'm telling you now about. So type 1, type 2, and type 3. Type 1 is basically what you know. What you know. What do you know? You know your password, right? Hello?
Yes. Yeah, yeah, the code.
Yes, I know. You know your password and your passphrase, whatever it is, what you know it. So under authentication, we have types of authentication. We have type 1, type 2, and type 3. Under type 1, always remember that it is what you know. What you know. WYK. And what do you know? You know your password. Now, under type 2, it is what you have. What do you have? You have your token. How many of us uses token? Bank token for our transactions. You have a token or you have a second phone for authentication. Maybe you have a second phone, etc. So it is what you have. So who can guess what type 3 is?
Who you are.
Exactly. How did you know? I was waiting for someone to give me a very wonderful, funny answer. So, who you are. Who you are. And now, based on these three classifications now, which of them do you think that when compromised, you cannot get it back again? Which? Henry, Shoot, give us an idea.
I think for me it's type two. I don't know.
Okay, so when you lose your token, you can mute. Thank you. When you lose your token, you could go to the bank and retrieve it. They will give you a new one. When you lose your second phone or whatever, you could go to the bank and get a new one. When you forget your password, what do you do?
Reset password.
Good. When someone steals your biometric scan, your biometric scan, maybe your eye scan or your finger scan, how do you change it?
in the bank.
Otilo. It's gone, right?
Yeah.
So don't forget this analogy. It's going to come out in the exam. Who you are is a type of authentication that whenever it is compromised, you can't get it back again. But the rest too, you can always get it back. Now, when they say multi-factor authentication must be between one or two or three of the authentication types. So meaning it must be a combination of type 1 or type 2 or type 3. When you use password and you use 3 passwords, everything is password, it doesn't count as multi-factor authentication. And I think we're going to generate another link to wrap up the class. So guys, go get a cup of coffee, or get water to drink. I will share the next link immediately. Okay, so we were talking about the types of authentication, and we discussed the first type, which is type 1, and we said that what falls into type 1, we have the passwords and okay, thank you very much for reminding me. See? Else I would have been just talking. Please, I hope it's up now, right? Okay, thank you very much. So we have type 1, which the password falls under what you know. Don't forget it, it is what you know. You know your password. Then we have type 2, what you have. What you have. The banks people, they use tokens. Some people use second phone. Google authentication app is also like a token, so it is second. It falls under second authentication. Type 2 is what you have. Then type 3 is who you are. You have to ensure that this is not compromised. If someone compromises your fingerprints, OT you can't change it. You can't reset it unless you go to heaven and tell God to change your fingerprint for you. So, and we also said that multi-factor authentication means type 1 plus type 2, or type 1 plus type 3, or type 2 plus. It has to be a combination of one. It's a combination of 2 of either of the 3. That's what it is. And when you're looking at through for the exam, you also get clearer view on this. But this is easily grabbing. Any question on this part, because this is important, it's going to come out in your exam. You see how we are touching exam topics while we are doing our learning. Okay, if it is parts where we need to do some hands-on, we'll go look at the tools, pull it out and do what we're doing. That is why I always encourage live classes, where it's not just following a straightforward, just teach the curriculum, video it, give it to people. No, you have to be interactive in the class, so that things that are not formally or structured in the classroom can also come up during the live class, and everybody benefits from it. And funny enough, no two batches or classes are the same. If I'm going to be teaching another batch this week 3, the topics might be the same, but the semantics and some of the things that might come up might still be different, because in Igbo language, we used to say that knowledge comes um, sparingly. It doesn't come all the time at a go. So as sparingly as it drops, we pick it up from there. So let's move ahead so we could wrap up. So under the access control policies, an IT department, see how we jumped into there. An IT department implements role-based access control, RABAC, to ensure that only administrators can change system configuration. Also, under this access control, we have like 4 types of controls. The first one, which was listed here, is RABAC. RB. I hope I could remember the 4 of them. Else, you will have to fall back to the second material during preparation of your exam. We have RABAC. We have RUBAC. RUB. This AC. Then what is the third one? Let's talk about the first one. First one is role based. Role. Okay, someone gave Enwere. Collins is late. He was not around in the first link. Collins, welcome, and you're late. You are actually 60 minutes late. So ensure you get the video after the class and catch up. Welcome. So yeah. So RABAC means role-based access control. It is role-based. So we're talking about access control, and this RABAC comes into place. You know that RABAC means role-based, while RUBAC means rule-based. Rule-based. You see? From all these things I'm telling you, you will appreciate the fact that you might not see all this inside the ISC2 program. Even if you see them, you won't see them explained deeply like this. That's why I say ensure you go through the ISC2 quick so that you can start digesting the external resources, because it's going to help you not just now. Look at one thing else I found out. When you are thoroughly prepared for the exam, both with the materials we have and the way we are doing it, and you sit for the exam and pass, the knowledge you get is going to be like a solid foundation for almost all the certification exams you're going to be writing ahead. What you're not going to be doing is to be building on top. You will not be shallow. You can never be shallow. You can't. So this RUBAC, this RUBAC is rule based. And we have another which is very important too. That one has to do with assets, clearance, and objects. Okay, don't worry. Don't even give yourself headache much. But just know that you're going to meet all these things I'm explaining in the material for your exam. For those who would want to skip the exam, I will not consider it wise. Give yourself that chance of trial. It's better you try and you get it, or even if you fail. I failed it the first time because I didn't have access to external materials. But now, when I got the external materials, studied for it, and passed. So you guys don't even have any reason to fail it, because I have failed all the failing for you. I've failed all the failing. So let's refresh. Let's look at, let me see what Google has. Cybersecurity access control types. Let's see whether it has it. Okay, now that's interesting. So you guys can see the first one, right? What is it? Yeah, man, I think I like the new Google that has the AI overview these days. How many of you have experienced it? I think I like it. So it does like a kind of it's no more the previous times when you search for something on Google, you have to start opening links up and down to get a view of what you're looking for. But nowadays, I think they've updated it with AI. When you search, you will see an AI overview, which gives you like a basic summary of whatever you're looking for. Then below it, you will now start seeing the links up and down, and it's a good one for Google. I like that. So we have role based, and in summary, it says this role based access control assigns access based on what a user's what. Yes, yes. So access is being given to you based on the user's role in the organization, and this is good for businesses with multiple roles. Then the second one, we have mandatory access control, MAC. This is very important too. This restricts access to sensitive information by requiring users to have validated credentials, and that validated credentials is based up based on objects and clearance. When you don't have clearance for a particular job, you can't see the data, you can't have access to that data. Objects and clearance, they will always ask. You see, this part will always come out very well in the exam, this rule based whatever. So MAC is based on object and clearance. So the question will come like, which of the access controls is based off of object and clearance? You just tick MAC, mandatory access control, and you pass, you get the answer. Which of these access controls is based upon role-based access control? Role-based, or is based upon roles. You already know it's red back. Rule-based, you kick your roll back. So the one below it is discretionary access control. Now, example is you open Google folder and you create file, then you give access to whoever you want. Is based on the discretion of the owner. So this gives resource owners the power to control who can access resources. In DAC, which is discretionary access control, each user has a unique identifier and a set of permissions. Then we have a ABAC, attribute based. Uses users and resource attributes to decide who can access what. For example, users' age or location could be used to grant access. If they don't want people from your village to access a file, they will remove your village IP address. Anybody that is connecting on the internet from your village will not access that file. It happens. Then we have a history-based access control, HABAC. This evaluates a user's activity history to decide whether to grant or deny access. Then we now have identity-based access control, IBAC. Uses a user's identity to manage access and activity. We have a rule-based, which is a RAC, the one we have here, RAC, rule-based. Uses context-based rules to decide who can access what. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. I needed to take care of something immediately. Yeah. So, there was the gas cooker caught fire, and whenever you are in whenever you have this kind of scenarios, the gas cooker catching fire or whatever, and the fire is, don't go trying to use water or use rag, whatever. Look for, if you have powder around, very big powder, use powder to quench it. Is one of the easiest way to quench gas fire or fires, because it sucks out the oxygen from it, and when there is oxygen, the fire increases more. So with powder, it sucks it out quick. It sounds like as though it is a distinguisher or whatever. So that's a side one. I'm sorry to divert, guys. Very, very sorry.
Life lessons.
What did you say?
I said life lessons.
It's all right. Thank you very much, guys. And please don't run away. Yeah, that Don't run. If you run, it gets worse because that time you're using to run, you could actually do some first aid to curb the situation. Then probably when you now try curbing it and it doesn't work, that you might now run. Okay, so yes, you can. You said
But the thing wey will make the matter worse, the better to arrest is that the initial stage before it
yes.
get out of hand.
Yes, yes, and that's exactly what I did. Now, remember what we talked about in the beginning about the canons. It says, yes, there are steps on how to take care of accidents or issues, but it should not, what's it called, cover your intellect or your personal decision as a human being, your ethical judgment. So when you try salvaging the situation and it doesn't, and we use fire, maybe we use fire to give this example, and now it happened. So when you try to take care of the situations and it doesn't work well, the best thing is you save your life first and take care of other things. So just like Nelo said, these are life lessons. We learn it every day. Accidents happen, but you have to be on your feet to find out what works and get it done. So thank you very much, guys, for giving me that space. So what were we talking about? We're back. Okay, we are looking at the access controls. Yeah. So any concept you don't understand, don't fail to always go to Google or ChatGPT to get yourself clarified before you move ahead. One thing I understand in cybersecurity is do not sweep any knowledge that you need underground, because any knowledge that you need in cybersecurity, find it and get
So
it.
the chat GPT that I downloaded, the demanding for money, and I don't.
You should
Can I
not
have a
pay.
free?
It should be a free platform. Yes. Well, if you are using your laptop with your phone, you can actually go to Google, then type ChatGPT on your phone, and you see the free version. You just log in. You don't have to download the one that will ask you for money.
Okay, the app.
Yes, you don't need to
Actually,
download the
download
app.
the app.
You don't need to. For example, let's see this. I don't think there's ChatGPT in this user. Let me see. Let me type it. ChatGPT, and probably I must have accessed it here before. So this is the original one. Could use this one. So when I click on it, it opens. You see, it's either you log in or you sign up. You can even start asking it questions right away without um, signing up or logging in. But the reason why you should log in if you want is so that you keep the histories of what you're asking it and the replies it's giving you. So, for example, if we had asked ChatGPT types of access control, is that access in cybersecurity? I think I missed a C, but it should be smart enough to. Yeah, it should be smart
It's
enough.
obvious.
You said?
I said you're correct. It is access.
Yeah, okay, yeah. It is smart enough to pick any mistake. So you see, it doesn't even ask you to register before it gives you good access. So it lists out, say in cybersecurity, access control refers to the process of regulating who can access or use resources in a computing environment. So there are several types. We'll talk about the dark discretionary access control, the MAC. Always remember, the MAC always deals with lab as what's it called? What did I call it? Objects and clearance. So in MAC, access decisions are based on system enforced policies, and normally it is for what's it called, managerial organizations, and users cannot change these policies. It's either you have the clearance to do this job or not. For those of us that are in big organizations, if you don't have the clearance to use to go to the fourth floor, you can't go, no matter what you do. You will just go back. So you have the role base rollback, we have the attribute base aback. So this should clear the air on your. Please don't pay I'm not advocating not for you not to pay for people's product, but I think there are open source ones, free ones you could use uh, without spoiling your or breaking your account for now. So we've been able to, you see, in just this particular domain, we've spent a lot of time. Okay, so some of the domains are well deep than others. So we've looked about the multi-factor authentication, which took us to the types of authentication, where we have type 1, type 2, type 3. What is type 1? What you do what?
Password.
What you know, yes. What you know, your password. Then type 2 is what? What you have.
What we have.
Then type 3 is who you are. Yeah. Yeah, so don't forget that. And we also looked at access control policies, where we talked about the REBAC, RUBAC, MAC, and others. So, yeah, practical to do setting up MFA, multi-factor authentication, on your personal accounts, such as email or social media, adds an extra layer of security, reducing the likelihood of account takeover. Ensure that you have multi-factor authentication on your emails or on your phones. If you are using a laptop and another phone, use one of the devices as a backup. For example, if you ever want to log in to a new device, let them send you a code in a device that you don't have. Okay, so I think a few years ago, a pastor, while I was setting up a pastor's access control stuff on his phone, on his WhatsApp or Facebook. So he notices, he said that whenever they send him a code, someone picks up the code and logs into his account. I said, okay, well, what I'm going to do is that we'll divert where the code is coming from. The code, he said, his multi-factor authentication code will no more be going to his phone, it will be going to his wife's phone. So, and that was sort settled it, because we figured out that whoever it is that is trying to rob him or whatever is around him. You understand? So the person also is assumed to have close contact or could access his phone. So when they send OTP, the OTP will no more come on his phone. It will come in the wife's phone. And the wife will like, honey, did you send OTP? Are you changing? He said, I did not though. He said, now we don't catch them. They can't access his account anymore. So you could actually also take up some, initiative on how to stay secure on that. So second to the last domain is security assessment and testing. Definition: this domain focuses on evaluating the security posture of systems through assessment, testing, and auditing. It includes vulnerability assessments, penetration testing, and continuous monitoring. So during the practical times, if you guys are fast enough, I will introduce you guys to Nexus tool. Nexus is a tool you could use to do initial vulnerability assessment on probably a network or a website or whatever. It will do a vulnerability assessment and list out how vulnerable this system is, whatever it is. And I think it's one of the very first steps a security operation or personnel should do before Nexus. Don't worry. When we get to the practical side, just don't forget to remind me. You could write it down so that you remind me during our practicals. We'll have to get all of you to use it. It will be an additional what's it called, capstone for you guys. At least take away the batches in the past, they didn't do it because probably their time were limited or whatever. But I'm feeling passionate that you guys should also have a hand on it. So that's under security assessment and testing. Okay. Okay. Use case penetration testing. A cybersecurity team tests an organization's defenses by simulating cyber attacks to uncover vulnerabilities. For those of you still thinking about the Nexus, Let me see if I could get the spelling on Google. So that's the spelling, Nexus. I know I read somebody's mind now. The person was still thinking about it. True or false?
True.
Uh-huh. So it's good. So that's Nexus. That's the spelling. You could look it up on Google ahead of our training time. So focus now. Let's so you wouldn't lose this side. On the use case of security assessment and testing, penetration testing, a cybersecurity team tests an organization's defenses by simulating cyber attacks to uncover vulnerabilities. Vulnerability scanning. Automated tools are used to identify weak points, just like the Nexus we are going to be using. Use it to identify weak points in the network or software that could be exploited by hackers. So most times, even as a remote or a single person, when organizations approach you for scanning, you could make up some cash. You scan for them and show them the report of this is the posture of your system, the posture of your network, whatever, and this is this and this and this is what I think you guys should do to get it safer from this level. So it's cool. Under the practical to do, using tools like Nmap, you guys are going to use it. Beginners can scan their home network for potential vulnerabilities, ensuring that all devices are properly secured. We are going to do this from next week. We're going to do this on next week. So we're going to be using tools like Nmap to scan our home network for potential vulnerabilities, ensuring that all devices are properly secured. So I think the last domain should be security operations. What happens is most times when our learners, when I go through these domains with them, then I now go back when they go back to ISC2 to look at the material. Then I come back and say, sir, that material, that ISC2 is too loose. It's not strong. I say yes. That's why you have external resources for your exams. But ensure you finish it and get the certification of completion. Okay. For every domain you pass, you get a badge. That's another thing I forgot to tell you guys. In that ISC2, you get a badge. So for every domain you pass, you get a badge showing that you've been exposed to this badge, to this domain. So the security operations, this domain involves the day-to-day task required to keep an organization's assets secure. It includes incident response, disaster recovery, and maintaining the operational security of information systems. Under the use case, there is another domain here. That's interesting. Under the use case, we have disaster recovery. After a cyber attack, a company uses its backup systems to restore critical data and operations. Inside the security operations, we have the disaster recovery, we have the incident response. Okay. The disaster recovery team or section, this takes care of backup systems. Okay. Why the incident response detects phishing attacks, etc., and quickly responds by blocking the malicious IPs. IP means IP address, Internet Protocol address, and also quarantining the system. If you find out that one of your phone has virus, what you do is disconnect it from the network. Then you deal with it separately, because if it stays on your router on your network, it can infect other devices. Are you guys sleeping?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. Please don't sleep. We're almost wrapping up. On the practical, developing basic incident response plan for your personal devices, just like what I just said now, can help you react quickly if you are compromised, such as knowing how to change passwords or disconnect from the internet. Easy peasy. So I think this is the last domain. Yeah, we're almost done. Software development security. Very important. This domain covers the security of software applications throughout their development life cycle. It ensures that security is integrated into the design, coding, testing, and deployment of software. This domain covers the security of software applications, which ensures that security is integrated from where's the first part? The beginning, that's the design. Security has to be integrated into the design, then the coding, then the testing, and also deployment of the software. Under the use case, we have secure coding practices. Developers should follow guidelines to prevent common vulnerabilities like SQL injection. This is you guys' capstone project. SQL injection. You're going to be hacking a vulnerable application or a website to gain unauthorized access into the system. That's what we're going to be doing on our capstone project, alongside with that Nasus that I wanted to add with you guys now. Or cross-site scripting in web application, secure coding practices. We are talking about software development security as a domain. What is inside the domain? The second is security testing in development. A company implements static analysis tools to automatically scan code for security flaws before deploying them. And practically, or our use case practical, a beginner learning about web development could practice writing code that avoids vulnerabilities by using input validation techniques to prevent malicious input from being executed. This input validation technique ensures that this kind of vulnerability does not exist. And I will explain it very well when we start the practical. And I think with that, we've come to the end of week 3, which is very, very interesting. So any questions and any comments or contributions? Any questions?
Yes, the material, this PDF, can we get it?
Yes, you can. I think it's in the your folder. You might find it in your folder. But if you look for it in the folder and you don't see it, let me know. I will append it there.
Okay.
Great.
So all these things you said here, I need to download them.
Aha. Now you're asking the next question. So for week 2 and for week 4, going into our practicals, you need to get all these things set up, because next week we're going to be doing our home lab setup. We're going to start with scanning, and first you're going to download and install a VM into your system. You're going to download and install. Kali is already, once you download your VM, you download and install your Kali machine. Then you read up on IP address. See, the week is already looking as though it's looking heavy already. So you're going to read up about IP address. What is IP address? What is IP classes? What is IP octets? Then also you read up about Nmap. Then finally you read up about network ports and types. As you read them up, when we come from next week practical classes, as we are diving into each one of them, understanding will be balanced. So I think there is a guide, a video guide on how to install your tools. I will ensure that the guide is available to you guys in your folder, so that you have, a curated way of download, so you wouldn't do so much error. But just know that even if you get error, do not run. Do not run. Where are you running to? Stay and fix it. Okay. Any other question, guys? That's if you are not sleeping. What happened? Did I lose anybody? Are we good to go? Yes. Are we good to go? Nobody's talking. I believe this is the
Yes,
end.
sir.
Yeah. Sammy, thank you. Others are sleeping. I can understand. Let them sleep very well.
I said I
No,
do
no,
now.
Okay, I thought you guys are sleeping. So, guys, let's see in the group. The recording will be made available, and also every other material you need. Please ensure you remind me if you don't find them. The week you're entering is a very heavy one. So you get yourself prepared ahead. So, thank you very much, guys, and have a lovely weekend. Thank you.
thank you, sir.
Thank you.